Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is guitarist Molly Miller, who we saw a few years ago at the Iowa City Jazz Festival. Back for a gig at the Ideal Theater coming up on June 19th. Molly, welcome.
Hi, so good to be here. Yes, and I also was in Cedar Rapids, I want to say 2018 with Jason Mraz, and I did a premiere guitar session with Jason and one of the girls from the band. And yeah, so back in Iowa, it's a great
Okay, well,
state.
yeah.
It's in Cedar Rapids, time in. Yeah.
If you're watching the video, you can see that Molly is al fresco today. Where are
I
you
am.
talking to us from?
I'm in Pittsburgh. We're actually going to do a little recording session in a couple days over at like the sanctuary at the Mr. Smalls Theater here. We have some shows in Pittsburgh. So we are here checking the studio out, sorting out where we're going to set up. And yeah, it's a beautiful space in there. It's an old church.
You've been playing guitar practically as long as you could walk. I know that you started off in a
Yes.
family band when you were very,
Yes.
very young. So were you toward the younger end? Was the guitar what was left, or how was it that you ended up the guitarist?
I am in the middle of five kids. We're all 2 years apart. So it's funny, like I feel like most people have this story of I begged my parents for the guitar. I begged, but it was kind of like my dad was like, "Here, you can play my old guitar." Or like the guitar he was using. I was like, okay. Because my older sister already played piano. My older brother started playing bass in school. And then my younger brother, Sammy, who's also a musician, wanted to play drums. And so it's like, you get guitar. And I was like, sure. And I cannot imagine what my life would be like if that hadn't been the case. Because I feel so like a guitar player through and through. Yes, I'm a musician, but I'm like a guitar player. So yeah, I thank the Lord above that that the guitar was given to me.
What kind of music did that early family band play?
Top 40. So we were like the first songs we played at our elementary school talent show. That was like our first gig. It was like I want to say my eighth birthday was my our first performance. I started playing when I was 7, but it was like the Beach Boys, Surfing USA, Louis, the Beatles. Like it was like that kind of music. Yeah, all top 40s from the 60s. My parents were curating the music. They are not musicians, but they'd be like, learn this song.
Then when you got out of school, then you studied at USC, right?
Yeah, so I was at USC for 9 years. I got my undergrad, my master's, and then my doctorate all in guitar performance. And I actually teach at USC now in their guitar department, jazz and pop, studio guitar. But yeah, a lot of time at USC studying music. And then I've been on the road a ton the last 10 years with Jason Mraz and Zayn Malik from One Direction. Yeah, especially the last year, I feel like I've been gone a ton. But and my trio, which I'm excited to be touring with in Iowa. But yeah, so a lot of time performing, teaching, gigging. I feel very fortunate for the career I have.
Not every musician elects to go all the way to PhD. What was your thought process on that, or did you just really love being a student?
You know what? It was a combination of things. I like didn't want to do it at first. Each time I finished a degree, I was like, "Ugh, just want to be like free and tour and play and wake up when I feel like and do late gigs and not worry about a paper or a performance for school or whatever." But I also did really enjoy teaching, and I think I just wanted to give myself options in my head. I was like, I obviously like teaching at a college would be great. So I just kept doing the thing. And also I loved being at USC studying there. So it worked out. I definitely had reluctance each time. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going back for another degree. But I'm very grateful that I did because now I teach there. And yeah, I've taught at a couple different colleges and I don't think I would have had those opportunities without my degree. I don't know, being in school is fun. I know it sounds silly, but obviously there's some papers I don't feel like writing and whatnot at the time. I didn't feel like writing, but I don't know. It's like I just got to hang out with a bunch of people that were also obsessed with music. So it wasn't lame. It was cool to be in a room with people that were obsessed with the guitar.
When did jazz become the direction you knew that you were going to take for a large part of your career?
What's funny, I don't think of myself as just like a jazz guitar player. Like even my music, it's like jazz influence for sure, but there's also funk and rock and Americana and folk, and I tour with pop artists. So I love jazz music, and I think it's also just a natural progression that happens when you're studying music. It's like you start learning songs and you're in garage bands with your friends and your family, which I did. But then also you're in jazz band at school and you go study music in school and it's jazz. So I spent a lot of time studying it and I love it. It wasn't this conscious decision like, I'm going to study jazz. It's just, it's what I did.
Your sound has been described as being heavily influenced by Dick Dale, Bill Frisell. I also know you're a big Grant Green fan.
Big Grant Green fan, big fan of Sister Rosetta Tharp, George Benson. Yeah, I feel like it is a mixture of things. I love folk music. I love pop music. I love indie music. I love jazz, of course. So I think all of those kind of seep into my music for sure.
I just recently, because of a podcast I listened to, did a deep dive into Sister Rosetta Tharp, whose name I knew,
Oh yeah.
and I knew she was fundamental in the development of the electric guitar, but I
Yes.
wasn't aware of the extent. When did you first become aware of her, and what influences you from her?
Okay, so Sister Rosetta Tharp is like my queen. I did my dissertation on her and a couple other women, Memphis Minnie and Maybelle Carter. I did my dissertation on the pioneering women of the guitar. And during that time, so this is about 10 years ago, I like fell in love with Sister Rosetta Tharp because her boldness and her playing too, which is she to me is really an interesting player because it's so eclectic. You hear jazz vocabulary, a ton of grammaticism. She really is, she's the godmother of rock and roll on the guitar, double stops and bends and slides. And there's just this irreverence to her playing. And of course, church music too. So she soul you hear now we would call like R&B and soul and blues and jazz and rock and roll. So a lot of these like fundamental American music styles of music. So yeah, she's for sure very influential for me. I transcribed a lot of her music and just love her as a player in person. I feel like she just embodies this boldness that I admire.
She invented a lot of the vocabulary that we think of as rock and folk and jazz and funk
Yeah.
today.
Yes.
At the time we last talked to you, which was when you were here in 2022 for the
Yes.
Iowa City Jazz
Where
Festival,
I got
you
that
were
jazz hat I love.
thank you for repping KCCK out wearing one of our
I
caps. We love that.
yes.
I think you were just gonna, you either had just gotten out of the studio or were just finishing your album. That was at the Hotspur album, maybe.
Yes, the Ballad of Hotspur. And yeah, it's out. It came out a year ago. And now it's funny, like I've been putting out a bunch of new live music, just recordings from like live sessions. And now we're prepping. This year I'll go back into the studio and hopefully next year, if not this year, put it out. I have so many new tunes and I want them out in the world.
And this is your trio, your usual trio that you've been playing with. So who are you bringing to Cedar Rapids?
Yeah, and you can hear these guys also on some of these new live tracks, but it's Tamir Barzilay on the drums and Andre de Santana on bass. And they're both monster musicians. Andre's with like Sergio Mendes and J Lo, and Tamir with like J Lo, Kate Hudson, Macy Gray. Both of them have played with so many people. And they're like my brothers. I've been playing music with them for 10, 15 years. It's fun to have monster musicians that are my dear friends with me out on the road. So yeah, we'll be at Cedar Rapids June 19th. And we're in Pittsburgh now. So we have some touring this month and yeah.
And these are also the musicians that you tour with Jason Mraz, yeah?
Yes, we spent last summer opening for Jason on our last summer tour, which was so fun. Yeah, and the three of us are in Jason's band as well.
Okay, so I have to ask, tell me a fun story about Jason
I
Mraz.
Oh my God, Jason is truly just one of the nicest guys, and I feel so lucky. I remember actually like an early tour in Brazil. He's just so kind to people. Like you see fans come up and he's so always generous with them. And I always think I live in LA and we see all sorts of people. And Jason has taught me that how you treat people is a choice because I've seen celebrities and people I work with not be as kind. And Jason's just he's just really thoughtful and humble and generous. And I feel so fortunate that to me, that's like the norm. I'm like, it's a choice of how you treat people. And Jason has taught me that. So I feel real fortunate. to be with someone who I love his music and is such an amazing, inspiring performer, and just a friend. So I think I feel lucky. Yeah.
He's been doing this a long time too, so sometimes people do get jaded. So it's comforting to hear that after all the different things and many years in the music business, he's still a kind, warm person.
He's the best. Yeah.
Molly Miller and her trio will be in Cedar Rapids at the Ideal Theater on Thursday, June 19th. You get tickets at idealtheaterandbar.com. This is a venue that's been up for us for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, so a little newish, but it's a great place to hear music, and I think you're going to really enjoy playing there.
So we're excited. So come on out. It'll be fun. It'll be nice to be back in Cedar Rapids making music.
Travel safely, and we'll see you on the 19th.
Thank you.
You can hear The Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.